All right. If someone is joining late, no worries, this whole video and webinar will be recorded as such, so you will anyways see the whole recording afterwards in cases you are joining late. So welcome everyone. I'm Joonas Sahola, the CEO of MeetingPackage here. And today we're going through with Paul from Event Inc. And showing you guys how to book a hybrid meeting or an event space, or a space that actually caters the possibility of hosting a hybrid event, as well as then Paul will also show the possibilities of how the platform where you are today is working, and post that we will have a short Q&A. All in all, this whole webinar will take something like 30-45 minutes in between, depending on how much questions you have in the end. For the ones who don't know, so MeetingPackage is technology for hotels and venues to allow instant booking of their meetings and event space without the need of RFP handling, inquiries, phone calls, etc. As on top of that, we integrate with the majority of sales and catering solutions, the so to say legacy solutions like Oracle, Delphi, Protel, etc., and allow instant bookings to go directly to your operational software, as well as for us to fetch the availability, which we can then also display in the platforms such as Event Inc. today. And that's something we will focus on today, on how the bookings will come, how it can be configured in MeetingPackage, and then also show the hybrid possibilities. But I'll let Paul now give a few words about Event Inc. and then we'll get started.
Hi. Thank you, Joonas, and thank you all for joining today. And for all those of you who don't know Event Inc., let me say a few words about Event Inc. So Event Inc. is a MICE procurement platform, and we help companies find the right spaces, be it meeting rooms, which is obviously at the core of our business, but also large event locations or hotels, etc., which they need for their workshop, or generally speaking, their MICE business. And there we work with clients who come directly to our webpage, but we also have frame contracts with companies such as GlaxoSmithKline or British Petroleum, to name a few. Before I jump into the website, into the process, maybe one more point, which I think is important. First of all, your names are not shown. Being German, obviously we care about data protection. However, if you post a question or if you ask something on the chat, your name will show up. So just so that you know that. The second point, Joonas mentioned it already, we are recording this session. We're not recording the platform. So again, on the recording, you won't see the names, but will only be recorded what Joonas and I are presenting here. So let's jump straight into the product. Yeah, let's have a look at how we think booking a meeting room in a hotel should be happening these days, and why this should really be a pure online play. And we see that and we hear that from our clients, that this instant availability, instant pricing, instant booking is something they really, really care about. But I think the easiest way to start is let's set the scene. So what we're planning today, and I just pretend to be a client, what we're planning today is a 4-hour meeting. I want to have 15 people in the room. I want to have another couple of people hybrid who can join remotely. And the whole thing should take place in Baden-Baden, which is my hometown. So now, having set the scene, let me share my screen with you quickly. I hope you can all see that now. Joonas, can you see the screen sharing already?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Then I assume everyone else can as well.
It's in a weird layout. I'm not sure if it's a little bit, but...
Is it better now?
Yes.
Good. I had on half the screen. Good. So this is our starting page. That's where you can start your search, and most clients will start their search. As I said, I'd like to go to Baden-Baden, which is my hometown. And the second thing is I want to do kind of a meeting. So I chose those two things, and then I click on finding a location, and it shows me all the different options we have in Baden-Baden. As I mentioned, I need to have the whole thing virtual and hybrid ready. So I click on more filters, and then I choose the virtual and hybrid filter. So I need to have a location that can actually provide for hybrid events. And then you can see there's only one location, which is as you can see, a test location, a lovely test location, I must say. And I think that definitely looks like a place where I would like to have my next meeting. So I jump on the profile. And
are you saying that's not your home, or?
No, that's not my home. No.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
Unfortunately, it's not my home. To be fair, this castle is also not even based in my hometown. Anyway, it's, as I said, a test location, and we always choose a pretty one for such events as today's. So you go to the profile, and here you can see immediately, this is one of those locations, so one of those hotels that has a virtual hybrid ready tag. You get this tag if you fulfill certain criteria, such as, for instance, you have a green screen, so kind of a studio item, so that you allow people to stand in front of a green screen and have a presentation or something else behind them. It works a little bit similar to the system many of you have seen on Zoom or Google Meet, where you can show a virtual screen behind you. You also have, and that's very important, in particular in Germany, you have a strong and stable internet connection. I think for hybrid events, this is one of the core elements. There are several other things you have to fulfill to be qualified as virtual hybrid ready. And then on top of that, yes, you also provide the COVID-19 that you say, okay, we actually follow a certain protocol when it comes to cleaning, when it comes to hygiene, to make sure to contain the virus as much as possible. You find all other information on this side, so a little bit of description, some core elements of the house, and then you can see here the rooms that are bookable in that house or in that hotel. Further down below, you have the map where exactly it is located, some additional infrastructure and technological questions that may be answered. And now let's have a look. I think this is a grand hall. I believe grand hall is the right thing. It probably has space for more people, but this event is done for the board of an important company, so they want to have the grand hall even if there are only 15 people. So I click on that, and then I get some details of the grand hall, and I already see a price, and that's a minimum price per hour, and now I can actually send a request. So I put the request, and I think now this is where it gets interesting. You can see the price on the right-hand side is automatically calculated, excluding VAT. But where it becomes really important is now I fill in that I want 15 people, fill in the seating type. I want a classical banquet kind of style. And now I need to select the dates. And I want this event to happen on the 9th of August. What happens is when I click 9th of August, the system immediately fires a request into MeetingPackage, and then from MeetingPackage to your PMS system, and checks whether that room is actually available. In this case, you can see that it quickly does down here. It has a quick question. So if I click something else, it quickly checks. And once the check is over, it says, okay, this date is actually available. So, but I said I want to have the 9th, and I want to have it. No one gets up at 7 to be in a meeting at 8. So we start at 10. Obviously, it's a board meeting. Those guys stand up usually a bit later. And as I said, I wanted to go on for 4 hours. So I set the time. Again, the system checks if it is available for that exact time slot. So you can have 2 bookings on a single day, because the system will check if it's free, and you can configure it in a way that you can put it again. This time I don't need catering or any rooms, so I can put a message here at the end. I would do that if I wanted to, but in this case I say, hey, put a message. It would be great if you could prepare it for a hybrid event, right? Because we want to stream it. I accept the terms and conditions, and these are the terms and conditions of the hotel. So it's not terms and conditions of eventing, it's terms and conditions of the hotel. I think that's an important one. If you click on it, you obviously get to them. And then I fire the request and the booking, and immediately I get a confirmation which says, hey, your booking has been confirmed. You will get an email, obviously, where the confirmation of the booking is included. It's from 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It happens in Baden-Baden on the 9th of August. And you can now go click on to Buchung. You go straight to your dashboard, and in your dashboard, you then have it. You can ask for and can write straight to the hotel. You can ask for additional information. There are some pictures, there's some contact details, etc. And then up here, if you want, you have the option to see all the different details. You can fill out an invoice number if you need to put on a certain cost place as a client. I think that is now that we have mainly providers and hotels in this call, a little bit less important, but still for you to understand. We then make sure that they can also use it in their own system. And I think if you look at my events, they would have the option to look at other bookings you have. You could share your booking with your colleagues, etc. And I think these are the most important parts of the process of the booking. The key importance is here when you go through this process. If you think about it, how long did it take me now to book a meeting room in the Schloss Meienberg? It literally took me about 6-7 minutes. Is that about right, Jonas? It took 6-7 minutes to get the entire booking. There is zero necessity of the hotel to confirm because it automatically is confirmed. There's zero necessity to spend time on calls, etc. It really streamlines the whole process, and you as hotels can get the revenue super quickly, and the clients can really book those rooms super quickly. And I think that is something of great importance, because that's what we get from our clients, that they really sometimes they have just a short period of time to get their meeting. They say, oh damn it, I'm in a town, I now need to have another meeting and I don't have an office here, so I quickly need a meeting room. And they may just book 2-3 hours in advance, but they want to be able to book it directly. So I think this is really how it works.
Thanks, Paul.
There's one question which I quickly would like to check regarding availability on the guest rooms, but that will be checked automatically. I think that's that is an option we will have going forward. But at this point in time, we're checking the availability only of the meeting room itself. But now I hand over to Jonas, who will show you how to configure that in MeetingPackage. And I stop sharing the screen.
Thank you, and I'll take the screen. Paul, you need to give me access to the screen.
Why? That doesn't ask me.
I don't know.
Try again.
Now it works. Thank you. Perfect. Can you see the screen now? You should see my bookings.
I can.
Before we go to the configuration, I just want to show, while Paul was doing it, it took literally like 10 to 15 seconds and the booking already arrived. So you can see the latest booking is the one that actually was done by Paul just a minute ago. Before we go to the actual booking, I'll go to the venue setup and show you how the configuration piece works in MeetingPackage. As you can see on the left-hand side, you have your My Profile, My Bookings, Calendar, Customers, Venues. Within the Venues tab, you can configure all of your spaces. So one property can have multiple different meeting rooms. So now I'm looking at that property that was shown by Paul a moment ago and the 2 meeting rooms it was associated with. Under that, you have the possibility of creating your own booking engine that you can enable also to sell on your own website, the same way as you would be booking bedrooms or selling bedrooms on your own website. Then you have statistics where you can see the visibility on which channels provide you business and how much, for example, is coming from eventing, what is the conversion hit rates, well, how much revenue has been generated, and so forth. Within the products, you have your catalog, so you can add your food and beverage items as well as your DDRs, but we're not going to go into these today. And in the settings, you have then more in-depth control over your distribution strategy, availability, instant booking configurations, payment pieces. All of these things are done in the settings. So if you just don't want to sell instantly, let's say on Mondays and Tuesdays, or only with a minimum of lead time of 20 days or 10 days, those all can be configured in the settings as such. Here, when we look at the venue configuration piece, as you can see, we have the basic information, location, facilities, photos, terms. All of these things are the basic information which you typically have, whether it's the taxonomies, like is it near the castle or near a road or airport and so forth. And what is the venue type? All of these can be configured in the basic information, including the kind of contact details of your property. Then looking at the rooms now, so you have the possibility of adding different rooms You have also the possibility of adding rooms that are not web bookable. What this means is you could have your restaurants, your shareable spaces, and so forth that you might not want to have web bookable. You can untick this one, and it means that from eventing channel, for example, you cannot book that, but when a booking comes, you can then change that to that room because it's already generated. Then we have the possibility of having hourly rates, half-day rates, full-day rates, and on top of that, also seasonal rates. And when a client goes to the eventing portal, such as you saw just a moment ago, it always fetches the price based on the rules that you have defined within MeetingPackage. And within the seasonal pricing, you're going to set up multiple different things. For example, here you can see that 1st of January till 1st of April. Am I correct? From Monday to Friday, there was a separate price, a fixed rate instead of a discount price during those period of times. But now, because Paul booked for August, that display did not apply. On top of that, you have the capacities, layout, seating orders, photos, descriptions, equipment. All of these are then pushed back to Event Inc. that they can also facilitate the profile delivery as such. Then we have the combo rooms. So if you have a shareable space, let's say 1 plus B plus A plus B plus C, you can combine those rooms, and it again checks the availability. So if A and B is booked, you cannot book A. Beautiful. Then, as we looked earlier, we saw the confirmed booking here. And if I open the confirmed booking, I can see that the source is Event Inc. It came from Event Inc. I can see the message that was displayed made by Paul to the actual booking. I can see that it's already a confirmed order. So the customer has already accepted the price. The price is the 80 euros as displayed in Event Inc. system. They're coming from 10 to 2, 15 people, everything displayed as it was booked within the Event Inc. portal. And in cases you want to then leave messages and so forth, you can do this through the updates here, but I'm not going to do it now because we don't want to go screen share back and forward as such. And if I go to the settings just quickly to view, you have the possibility of viewing the instant bookings or making the rules to your instant bookings, venue rights, change messages, calendar integrations. And as discussed earlier, we have the PMS configuration directly within the settings. So you can do it as a self-service, connect your sales and catering PMS directly to fetch the availability. Payment, as well as the safe meetings, so telling more about your COVID standards and policies. If we look at the instant booking configuration, because this is really important, as you can see, there's no additional instant booking settings on top of just flagging it instant book on this property that we just tested, but you could have the possibility of adding minimum lead times per hours. For example, if you don't want to receive on Saturdays and Sundays, 84 hours or 48 hours before, you can put it here, which means that if you search on Friday for Saturday, it will not be instant book in the platform. Maximum lead time in days, same here applying. If you just want to keep your availability open for the next 90 days, that's completely fine by the maximum lead times as such. And then the delegates, I have to say, pre-pandemic, there was a lot of talk about, hey, instantly we can sell 25 people or less. And during the pandemic and nowadays, what we see from all of our customers, they've actually they removed the whole flag of maximum delegates, and it's more based on the rooms. So we have clients that are selling 150 delegate rooms instantly online. For example, if you go to Nordic Choice, etc. Then final piece is if I go and see the statistics, what we were discussing just a moment ago. So here you can automatically see what has been delivered. And of course, remember these figures, what you see today are test figures because it's the test property that we're looking at. But in a real environment, you will see how much are you getting revenue, what are the sources of the revenue, and all other important metrics and key measurements, such as what's the number of bookings, what's the average value of the bookings, number of delegates, lead times, etc. And as you can see here, there's a difference. Like this, of course, is an eventing test profile. So 2022 bookings out of 23 is coming from eventing itself. Cancellation reasons are also collected. So if something is canceled, you can see those in real time, as well as then all the update orders. So whatever has happened in your orders, you have a moderator log And in the top, you have the possibility of filtering this based on create or order date. And finally, in cases you use MeetingPackage as your main venue and sales management tool, meaning any property who's on board to this call today that do not have a sales and catering, do not have a property management solution, are running on piece of paper or Excel spreadsheet, we are providing a full venue and sales management platform that allows you to also do the operations that you would do offline within the cloud-based environment of MeetingPackage. Meaning, if this customer would call you, for example, and would want to come on June 30th, or let's say we'll take July 14th, and we can see that there's availability, we can just drag and drop and create that offline proposal to the client and send it as a web proposal. So no more PDFs, even for the offline customers. What this means is, in case you don't have a PMS or sales and catering, you can utilize this. And once you utilize it, the live availability will always be in one source of truth, which ultimately means that in Eventing, you can then really sell instantly online, because the data that we have is the real live data of your operations as such. Any questions, Paul, or did I miss something?
No. Well, I think there was a lot of information for our listeners, and you rushed through it quite quickly. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions from everyone in the group, so please start posting your questions now. And there like one or two things. I mean, if you don't have anything to add, Jonas, one or two things I would like to add before I jump into a few words about hybrid and platform. But again, if you have any questions, please start posting your questions now. We will answer them then in a few minutes once we finish with the entire presentation. However, there's one thing I think, Jonas, you said, and you went over rather quickly, but I think it's an important thing. You can choose whether you want to make your meeting rooms instant bookable or not. You do not have to do that. You can also stick to the standard kind of RFP request system where you either only give an offer after the request has come in. I strongly recommend not to do that. In a few seconds, I'll tell you why. And there is a kind of a compromise in the middle. And I think the one thing you should always do as kind of the minimum digitization kind of product is that you at least show the prices. Even though you may say, okay, I want to counter confirm that. So kind of turn around the process that you say the client says, okay, I want this room for the next 10 hours on Tuesday and for a price of X per hour. So you get this offer from the client, and then you only have to confirm that you're still willing to take that offer. That is what I would always recommend, is the minimum you should do. Obviously, instant booking is a way to go. It is perfect if you offer instant booking, because there are many short-term bookings. On our platform just last week, there are a couple of bookings where someone comes Monday morning, 10 a.m., wants a meeting room for 3 hours in the afternoon. And obviously, if that room is empty, why not take that money? If you don't offer instant booking, this is not going to happen. But please avoid only going for RFP. It is a slow process, and we see that you win proposals, you win RFPs if you're super fast. And I think that is very important, but it is in the end your choice. We will not force you to win this business through us. We'll just like to help wherever we can.
That's a really important point, and it's something that is not only winning about customers, but it's also when we start looking at the resources at the moment in a hotel, because we need to remember that resources are tied at the hotels. There's furloughs happening and so forth. We, as a hotelier, as we are a supply-driven company, as we're Paul and Eventing's more looking after the demand and of course supply also on that side. But when we talk with a lot of suppliers, the reality today is that there's not enough hands at the moment to deal with the RFPs. Even it might take weeks to reply, and what happens is the customer is already gone. So if you would invest that half a day to actually configure your business to be online sellable and instantly bookable, it actually takes less than an hour to make everything, depending, of course, then your PMS configurations and how much business you have into the future. But at the moment, as everyone is, let's say, lacking of future bookings and bookings in the diary, currently is the best time to actually change your technology, go to the environment. And as Paul said, you don't need to take everything in one go. You can take the request-based bookings, the booking request, as we call it, where you have the price, and technically we have the availability, but we still don't let the customer to book it instantly, which gives a little bit more control for you guys. And then finally is the instant book. And you can always in real time play around with these configurations and settings as you get more comfortable on how you sell. Cool.
So maybe I just talk a few minutes about the virtual hybrid and the options we have here. So first of all, I'll talk a little bit about the platform on which you are on right now. As you can see, there are several options what you can do. Before you start clicking around now, I would kindly ask you not to click anywhere on the left-hand side, because the second you click on something like home or schedule or speakers or sponsors, you're out of the live stream and you won't be able to hear all the amazing things I was going to tell you about in it right now. So please avoid clicking there. This is really for conferences. On this platform, what do we have? First of all, as you can see, it's Eventing branded. We actually want to co-brand it. Didn't manage to do that on time today, but you can brand this platform in whatever kind of branding you want. You can brand it as an eventing platform. You can brand it as your own platform. You can even, as a hotel, brand it as a hotel platform and therefore offer this combined service through us. You have a standard home screen. On the home screen, you can see everything about this event or the conference. You have the live section. That is where we're all at right now. You have a schedule, which shows you which additional talks and webinars, etc., will be coming up. You have a list of speakers where you can see short resumes of every speaker. And then you obviously have a sponsor section, which is very important if companies do larger events where they really need some sponsors, such as I know the Hotel Sales and Marketing Association is doing one, for instance, so they always need a strong sponsoring section. And then on the right-hand side, you have the chat, which I think some of you have used already. You have Q&A where you can ask questions. And then me as a moderator, I also have the option to push polls. So I've done a fun poll right now. Let me just start that poll. So you can now can go to the poll section and see the poll, and then you can vote on something. And obviously we would get immediate results on how the poll went. You can put the options live while you're in the webinar. So I was literally preparing that poll while Jonas was talking with some funny questions. And you have a Q&A sections.
Thanks, Paul. I can see that I have not yet answered myself, and it's 100% Jonas is a rock star. So whoever it was, thank you.
Yeah, it was me. I was the only one who voted. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then, as I said, there's a chat. You have the abuse section where you can block people if you have someone in a section who's going a little bit rogue. Yeah, last but not least, the video section right now is currently hidden. There's a video section. In that video section, the video of this actually webinar will show, which is also very important, so that you have access to those webinars once the webinar is over, that people who didn't manage to join because of scheduling issues, etc., still have a chance to look at those things. One of the many things which are an advantage of hybrid. And now, obviously, don't want to go much further into the depth of this platform, because this really is more about booking meeting rooms directly. But I want to say maybe two more things about why we at Eventing believe hybrid is here to stay. It is not that we think people won't meet in person again. We think very much people will come back to meetings, and there will be huge kind of effect now after the pandemic. And we already see that in the requests we are having, right? Request-wise, in some areas, not in all areas or for all locations, but in some areas, we already have reached pre-COVID level this month of June. So we see numbers are coming back, bookings are coming back, which is great. But what we also see, what we also hear from many of our corporate clients, is that they have really learned to love the advantages of hybrid, of virtual, and in particular hybrid, because what hybrid does is it allows them to reach more people. They can have people on site, and they want people on site. They will come back to live and in-person events, but they realize there are events where you can reach more people if you offer also a hybrid version, such as the one we're doing today, right? Which is purely virtual, obviously, but you could use the same solution for a hybrid event. And we have some dedicated features for hybrid so that people who are not in the room can still ask questions, can still be asked on stage to join if you want in a virtual way on stage. And clearly, this is something where the pandemic has accelerated the adaptation of hybrid and virtual. And that's something which we clearly believe is going to stay. And we believe every hotel, every provider of meeting rooms should and must really provide a solution for that. It is not crazily difficult, and we're happy to help there. But we believe it is really important that you have these minimum standard. And I can say with my own company, we just had a management offsite where in a hotel where the internet was neither strong nor stable. And that is obviously something, it's 2021 after all. This is not an option. If you are a seminar hotel, if you are a conference hotel, that is something which is essential. Good. That is it from my side. And now let's have a look. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add there, from a supply side again, think about the new market and the kind of new traveler who is there. They're all digital, like people are making the transactions online. And as mentioned by Paul, in the sense of hybrid, the event that took place in 1,000 delegate event, flying people from different countries to one location, is now split into 10 different events, which ultimately could be within Germany, different locations, for example. And this would mean business for 10 properties as such. And again, for the smaller rooms, the rooms that cater hybrid events and has the technology for live streaming, etc., those will be the ones that will win those small meeting room bookings. And the main points are, you need to have a space, you need to have the prices available, the availability, and the equipment there. Once those are locked, then everything else can be sold on top. And that's eventually kind of the mindset change, that it's not anymore getting 2,000 people and getting beds for 2,000 people. Now it's not that problem anymore to find beds for 10 people, which are attending that, let's say, hybrid event from a different on-property place.
Yeah, I think we also have something to, what I see in the market, put it like that. What we see in the market is that all those hotels, in particular in large cities, are missing out on one massive opportunity, which is short-term meetings, which is meetings for a couple of hours with a couple of people. They bring a couple of 100, 200 euros quickly. I think entirely missing out. And this market is right now being served by an entirely different group of providers, such as dedicated meeting room providers or daily office providers, which charge good money for that, right? So you can make quite a bit of money from that, and a lot of hotels which are perfectly located, which with your strong brands are very well trusted that you provide what people need. And it's entirely been missed out opportunity, because from what I know is a lot of meeting rooms are quite often empty, and on days like that you could easily fill them up with short-term bookings who don't need a hotel room, who are just in town for a day, fly in the morning, fly out in the evening, but during the day need a room for 4 hours or 6 hours. And that's a couple of hundred of euros, where you have very little preparation time. And I think it is both, and I'm being very, very egoistic here, right? I'd like to have more portfolio when it comes to meeting rooms in large cities, because we need more. We see the demand. We need more professional inventory here, not just the cool startup-y stuff where you have this fancy workshop room. We also need some nice conference room in a hotel where people say, oh, this is a hotel chain I know. I'm sure if I book a meeting room there, everything will work perfectly, and I know they will be able to serve me drinks and food if I want something. And I think, therefore, if you're not doing that at this point of time, I think it really does make sense.
That's spot on, Paul, because that's one of those things that I've been talking a lot in different revenue management forums and so forth, when we look at meetings and events and how to price them and so forth. It does not make sense to go deeper into how to price if your utilization is less than 30%. It's just, the first thing is to fill in your spaces to about 50% or so. I'm talking about business days now, not even 7 days a week. And once you get to that level, then you can start optimizing your price rather than keeping your rooms empty every Monday and Tuesday with the same rate that you're selling on Thursday. Just drop your rates, start to get your rooms filled in, see that you're doing ancillary revenue from different things, either it's bedrooms, either it's restaurant, whatever it is, but it starts from filling that guest meeting room as such.
So we just have a new question, and the question is, what kind of events did your clients use the platform for? And I assume this is targeted towards eventing. And I think, yeah, to give a broad overview, as I said, our general mission as a company is we simplify booking perfect company events. So as you can see from that mission, we have a rather broad target. But what are our clients using us for? Firstly, they all use us obviously for meetings. That's what we have just been talking about. Secondly, they use us a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean really we get a lot of volume for 2-day training, 3-day trainings, these management offsites, these kind of things, where you have something between let's say 8 to 30 people who stay for 2-3 days, including meeting room. On top of that, we have all those kind of Christmas parties, summer parties, these kind of internal company events, if you want. And then last but not least, there's these marketing roadshows, etc., for which they use, which are looking for kind of places where they can showcase a product and sell to their clients. I hope this answers your question. Good.
I think if you can refer a little bit to that question, I would assume there's a kind of the question behind from hotelier is like, is it more B2C or B2B driven, and what is the split roughly?
Fair point. Okay. Our platform sometimes may come across as B2C and B2B, and yes, we still have some leftovers from prior times where we have occasions of B2C, but our platform, the revenue we generate for our clients is, I think, 95% B2B. And we are only looking at B2B business. And when I said GlaxoSmithKline, British Petroleum, and a couple of other large clients, that is obviously pure B2B business. And then for those clients, we do all their trainings and all their mice business. So expect from one of those clients alone, you can get up to 100 up to 100 bookings a month, or up to 1,000 plus bookings a year for certain trainings and other mice business, only coming through our platform. And this is obviously purely B2B, and 90% of that is going straight to hotels, and not to classic event locations. And then there's obviously the rest, which goes to things like Christmas parties, events, and etc., where hotels are usually a bit less of the focus.
Thanks, Paul.
It seems we don't have any further questions. Shall we give everyone maybe another minute or a minute and a half if they have more questions? I see in the chat that was it. In Q&A, there are no questions. Funny though that people ask questions in the chat and not in Q&A. Maybe I just put my own question.
Yeah, and of course, once we end the conference, you can still play around with the system. Am I correct, Paul?
Yes.
Yes. So feel free to play around and reach out to me or Paul at any questions you may have. What I could do is I'll put my email address here, and Paul, if you can put it to the chat also, so in cases that people want to reach out.
Good. Before we finish, maybe you would like to have a quick look at the poll I pushed. So if you look at the poll now, we have some results in now. More people have voted, and we have 44% that said this webinar was great. Another 44% said Jonas is a rock star, and then the remaining 11% that it was amazing. Obviously, I didn't offer any other things, so if you didn't like it, still, please don't take this post too serious, and feel free to give us some feedback, what we can improve. We're always happy to improve things, both on webinar thing as well as on our products. And thank you very much for taking the time to listen to Jonas and myself today.
Yeah, thanks Paul, for having you at part of this webinar and taking the time to tell all the attendees more about eventing and the platforms that you host.
Cool. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.